Okay, picture this. It is, what, maybe 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. You walk into a store and it is just a sea of red foil,
Wow.
satin ribbons everywhere. And the expectation of romance is like practically vibrating off the shelves. It feels inevitable, you know?
It does. It feels like this holiday just appears out of thin air every February. It's clockwork.
Yeah.
But if you pull back the curtain and actually look at what is happening behind those red boxes this year, the reality is, well, it's chaotic. The chocolate industry is in the middle of a massive historic crisis.
And we aren't just talking about your standard inflation here.
Yeah.
This is, from what I've read, a full-blown supply chain meltdown.
Exactly. The price of cacao futures is hovering around $4,200 per ton. You have these weather shocks in West Africa that are totally disrupting the harvest cycles.
And there's that virus, right?
It's the swollen shoot virus, yeah. It's absolutely devastating the yields in Côte d'Ivoire. It is just a perfect storm.
That sounds terrifying for the trees, honestly.
It's tragic. And cocoa trees, you know, they aren't like corn or wheat. You can't just plant a new crop and get it in 3 months. It takes years to recover.
So most big companies are panicking.
Totally panicking. We are seeing shrinkflation, chocolate bars getting smaller. We are seeing brands swapping out expensive cocoa butter for cheaper vegetable oils.
We're using those compound coatings.
Which is really just the polite industry term for fake chocolate.
Right. That's when you flip the bar over and you see cocoa butter isn't the first ingredient anymore. It's like palm oil or something.
Yes. It leaves that waxy film on the roof of your mouth. It's stuff that isn't technically chocolate anymore because they just can't afford the real ingredients. They are racing to the bottom to keep the price at $1.99.
But, and here's where it gets really interesting, not everyone is racing to the bottom. Today, we are unpacking a fascinating analysis that shows how a specific segment of the market is doing the exact opposite.
All of this.
They aren't cutting costs. They are doubling down on luxury. They're spending more, controlling more, and somehow their customers are thanking them for it.
And this analysis comes from Lillian Raji. She is a serious heavyweight in this space. She is a global luxury communications advisor, a fractional CMO, and the president of the Lillian Raji Agency.
So she knows what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah. She's been advising leading luxury brands for over 2 decades. She also founded the PR Advisor and writes a column for Forbes called The Pursuit of Luxury.
Right, where she really digs into emotional marketing.
Exactly. She understands the psychology of why we buy expensive things. And Lillian's analysis focuses on 3 specific brands that are defying this market crash: Bissinger's, Dandelion Chocolate, and Melissa Coppel Chocolatier.
So while everyone else is trying to survive by being cheap, these guys are surviving by being difficult.
In a way, yes, by being obsessively difficult.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the macro landscape. You mentioned the virus and the weather, but walk me through why this is hitting the average chocolate maker so hard right now.
Well, it's brutal. Tariffs are up, labor costs are rising, and the raw material, the bean itself, is harder to get than it has been in decades.
And the big brands rely on volume.
Right. Their margins are razor thin. When the cost of your main ingredient triples, your entire model just breaks. You have to compromise the product.
But then you have a company like Dandelion Chocolate in San Francisco. And Lillian's reporting shows they are operating on a completely different planet.
They really are. To understand why, you have to get the difference between a chocolatier and a chocolate maker.
Okay.
Most chocolate companies, even the fancy ones, they don't actually make their chocolate. They buy something called couverture.
Couverture, what's that?
It's basically big industrial blocks of high-quality pre-made chocolate. The shop buys the block, melts it down, adds some flavor raspberry or sea salt or whatever, and reshapes it.
So it's efficient.
Very efficient. It scales, but it means the base flavor is generic because they didn't control the roast.
It's like buying really nice paint to make a painting. You're the artist, but you didn't grind the pigments yourself.
That's a perfect analogy. Dandelion is bean to bar. They grind the pigments, they buy beans directly from farms. And get this, Lillian notes that they are paying 3, 4, even 5 times the market price for these beans.
Wait, 5 times the market price? Why would you do that when the market is already historically high? That sounds like terrible business.
It sounds like it, but it's actually a defensive strategy. It's like insurance. If you pay the farmer enough to guarantee the absolute best beans, you insulate yourself from all that volatility.
The farmer wants to sell to you first.
Exactly. But what's really fascinating is how they treat the product. They don't treat it like candy, they treat it like fine wine.
I saw that in the notes. They use vintages, right?
Yes, and this is a Total shift in mindset. In the mass market, the goal is consistency. A Hershey's bar has to taste exactly the same in 2026 as it did in 1996.
Right, you blend out the
You
nuance.
blend it all away. Dandelion, on the other hand, leans into the nuance.
They highlight it.
They celebrate it. A 2024 harvest from a farm in Belize might taste like banana. The 2025 harvest from the exact same trees might taste like creme brulee just because it rained more that year. Dandelion puts the year and the harvest right there on the label.
That is wild. So they aren't trying to hide the changes, they are marketing them.
100%. They'll release 2024 Harvest Batch 1. It forces you, the consumer, to pay attention. It stops being a commodity, a sugar rush, and it starts being an exploration.
And Lillian points out that they support this with what she calls radical transparency.
Oh, it's intense. They publish an annual sourcing report. It lists the exact shipping methods, the quantities, and exactly how much they paid the farmers.
Which is brilliant psychology.
Yeah.
Because if you're charging $10 and $15 for a bar, the customer might roll their eyes.
Of course.
But if you show them the receipt, if you show them, hey, we paid the farmer 5 times the going rate, suddenly the price feels justified.
Precisely. The customer is paying for the truth. But if you want to talk about extreme lengths, we have to talk about their advent calendar. This part of Lillian's analysis just blew my mind.
Oh, this story is incredible. This is the definition of doing too much in the best possible way.
It really is. So for their advent calendar, Dandelion wanted to feature bonbons from different craft chocolatiers from all over the country. But they ran into a physics problem. Bonbons are fragile.
Because they might melt in the mail or get crushed.
Exactly. Even overnight shipping is a gamble with premium chocolate. The logistics of standard shipping just weren't luxury enough.
So what did they do?
They didn't mail them. They organized 24 refrigerated trucks.
24 trucks, just for chocolate.
A fleet, crisscrossing North America, driving from Miami to Upper Michigan, back to San Francisco, picking up these handmade bonbons to make sure they were never exposed to the wrong temperature.
That is absurd, but also kind of majestic.
It creates a story. When you buy that calendar, and it's almost $200, you aren't just buying sugar. You're buying the result of that logistical crusade. You're buying the fact that they cared that much.
And the experience doesn't stop there. Lillian describes it as a ritual.
Right, the moon map.
Yes. Chocolate and the moon. Explain how this works.
The calendar comes with a moon map. Every morning in December, you get an email that tells you which ornament to open. Then you watch a video from the chocolatier who made that specific bonbon.
Okay, that's already cool.
But then, and this is the kicker, you watch a video from Ariel Waldman.
The NASA advisor.
Yes, she explains the phase of the moon that corresponds to that day while you eat your chocolate.
So you're sitting there eating a truffle that rode on a refrigerated truck across the country, learning about the moon from a NASA advisor.
That isn't a snack.
No, that's a morning event.
And that's the point Lillian makes. Dandelion engineered a ritual. In a chaotic world, they gave people a moment of order and beauty. People will pay a premium for that feeling.
I love that. Okay, let's pivot to a brand that's less about Silicon Valley logistics and more about old school, stubborn tradition.
Yeah.
Bissinger's.
A 350-year-old brand. They were making candy when the ink was still wet on the Declaration of Independence.
350 years. And their chief chocolate officer, Dan Abel, he sounds like quite a character.
Yeah.
Lillian describes his philosophy as geographic fanaticism. What does that mean exactly?
It means he is incredibly rigid about where his ingredients come from. For example, he will not use chocolate made outside of Europe. It has to be German or Belgian manufactured.
Even with tariffs and shipping costs skyrocketing.
He won't budge. And his reasoning is, it's hilarious, but also scientifically sound. He told Lillian, the cows have a different diet.
The cows.
It comes down to the milk. The European cows graze on different grasses than American cows, which changes the fat content and the enzymes in the milk.
So he thinks it makes the chocolate more buttery.
He knows it does. He argues that you literally cannot replicate that buttery finish with American dairy. So if he switched, he'd be betraying the customer.
That's amazing. And they're paying insane prices for other things too, right?
Oh, yeah, like vanilla.
Wow.
$300 a gallon for vanilla. They have a 50-year relationship with a French supplier for candied fruits. Tariffs are hitting all of this, but Abel says, we are guests in the House of Bissingers.
That is such a distinct way to look at business.
He thinks in 5-year increments, not quarterly profits. He feels a responsibility to not destroy 350 years of brand equity just to save a few bucks this quarter.
But the best story about Bissinger's for me is the machine. caramel extruder. This is my favorite part of Lillian's analysis.
It's a classic business school case study waiting to happen. So Bissinger's makes these caramels. They used to cut them all by hand.
Slow, hard work.
Right. So they wanted to be more efficient. They bought an automatic caramel extruder.
Smart investment, you'd think.
On paper, it was great. Produced caramels 10 times faster, same recipe, same ingredients. But when they shipped the first batch, customers complained.
What did they complain about? The taste.
No, they complained that they looked too perfect.
Too perfect.
Yeah, they said, this is not the quality we're used to. The machine-made perfection made customers think the product had been cheapened. It lost its soul.
They look like something you'd buy at a gas station.
Exactly. So what did they do?
They got rid of it?
They sold the machine. They went back to hand cutting.
Wow. They literally chose inefficiency.
And Lillian highlights this as a key insight. For luxury, efficiency can actually destroy value. If it looks like a machine made it, it's a commodity. If it looks like a human struggled over it, it's luxury.
That is such a brave move, to sell a brand new machine and hire more labor to prove a point about quality.
It proves that efficiency isn't always the metric of success. Sometimes efficiency kills the brand.
Okay, so we've got the high-tech logistics of Dandelion, the stubborn heritage of Bissinger's. Now let's talk about the rebel, Melissa Coppel.
Melissa Coppel is fascinating because her business model was born out of a complete disaster.
Yeah, that origin story is brutal. Her former business partner basically told her, "You're very good with chocolate, but you suck at business."
Ouch. And then hit her with a non-compete agreement. She couldn't sell chocolates in Las Vegas for years.
That should have been the end of her career.
Yeah.
So what did she do?
She pivoted. Since she couldn't sell chocolate, she opened a school to teach others how to make it. But as Lillian points out, this constraint, this prison, actually became her moat.
Her competitive advantage.
Exactly. Because teaching became her R&D lab. She said students ask questions that force you to find gaps in the process. They break things, they ask why.
So she was innovating every day.
For 6 years. By the time the non-compete expired, she had developed techniques that nobody else had. She turned the prison into a laboratory.
And now she just breaks all the rules.
All of them. She's Colombian, and she explicitly ignores European traditions. She calls the French traditions a sack of potatoes that chefs carry on their backs.
I love that image. Just dump the potatoes and run. So what makes her chocolate different technically?
Visually, she achieves this glass-like shine on her bonbons. It looks like Murano glass. She does this by saturating the cocoa butter at just 1%.
Which is really hard to do without it looking streaky or dusty.
It's a high-wire act. And flavor-wise. She admits she finds the taste of chocolate boring.
A chocolatier who finds chocolate boring. That's a new one.
She runs away from the chocolate taste. She uses high-acid, savory elements, compotes. She wants it to taste like a complete plated dessert, not just a piece of candy.
There's a story about a vegan box she made for a New York Times review that just shows her obsession.
Oh, yes. The Times asked to review her vegan chocolates. Now, making vegan milk chocolate that actually tastes good is the holy grail. It usually just tastes like coconut oil.
Right, you can always tell.
Coppel didn't just send what she had. She went into the kitchen for 2 weeks, working 15-hour days.
Then grinding.
Testing recipes until she cracked it. And the result was that the customers and the critics couldn't distinguish the vegan box from the dairy version.
That's a technical feat that usually takes big companies years of R&D.
She did it in 2 weeks because she refuses to accept good enough. Now people fly in from Japan and Poland just to take her classes, and her chocolates sell out without a marketing budget, just from Instagram.
Okay, so we've looked at these three very different brands. Lillian really synthesizes this into some powerful takeaways for anyone in business, not just chocolate. Let's break these down.
Let's do it. I think the first big one is something we touched on with Bissinger's. Inefficiency is a feature.
And it sounds so counterintuitive. Every business book tells you to optimize, streamline, cut fat.
But in luxury, the fat is often where the emotion lives. In a world of AI and automation, human effort is becoming a scarce resource. That inefficiency creates value.
Don't automate the soul out of the product.
Exactly. The second takeaway Lillian identifies is that vertical integration is risk management. That's the Dandelion lesson.
Right.
If they just bought couverture like everyone else, they'd be at the mercy of the market. By owning the supply chain, they control the quality. When the market crashes, they're insulated because they know the farmer's name.
Control beats scale.
Every time. The third lesson is about constraints. Constraints breed innovation.
That's Melissa Coppel.
100%. She couldn't sell, so she taught. That limitation forced her to become a technical master.
It's a good reminder that when you hit a wall, sometimes you should just build a house right there against it.
Beautifully put. And the final takeaway is about the money. Transparency justifies price.
This goes back to the sourcing reports.
Right. If you charge almost $200 for an advent calendar, you have to explain the refrigerated trucks. Lillian argues that customers do not resent high prices. They resent being ripped off.
That's a key distinction. They don't mind paying for quality, but they hate paying for marketing fluff.
Exactly. If you treat the customer with candor, if you say, this is expensive because we did X, Y, and Z, they will reward you. They become partners in the mission. Candor is a luxury product.
So really, this isn't just about chocolate. It's about how to survive in a world where everything is getting faster, cheaper, and more fake.
Yeah.
These brands are proving that there's a massive market for slow, expensive, and real.
And that the ritual is the actual product. Whether it's the NASA video or the specific way Coppel tells you to eat the chocolate, people are buying a moment of attention.
It makes you look at that Valentine's Day aisle a little differently. Maybe skip the red foil heart and find something with a story.
I think that's the move. If you want to stand out, you have to offer depth.
If you want to dive deeper into this analysis, you absolutely should read Lillian Raji's full article on Forbes. It is packed with more details than we could ever cover here.
And definitely check out her website at www.lilianraji.com. That's LILIANRAJI.com. She has a ton of additional analysis on the luxury industry that is really worth your time.
You can also connect with Lillian on LinkedIn and follow her on Instagram and YouTube. She's always sharing insights that make you rethink how brands work.
Absolutely. She's a must-follow if you are in this space.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a thought based on what we discussed today. In your own work or even your own life, we're all pressured to cut costs, save time, be more efficient.
All the time.
But ask yourself this. If you are cutting costs to save the quarter or automating a process to save 5 minutes, are you accidentally destroying the very thing people love about what you do?
In the world of luxury, and maybe in life, good enough is the beginning of the end.
Couldn't have said it better. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.